Am I the a-hole for telling my mom to get a job just like everyone else? Throwaway account, because my main has personal info. My 34 female mother, 59 female, has not worked for the last approximately 30 years. When we were little, Dad worked, and she was a stay-at-home mom. She refused to work even when we were older. I remember my parents fighting about it. After their divorce, Mom remarried almost instantly and relied on her much older husband, who died last year, leaving everything for his adult kids and almost nothing for her. After the death of her second husband, Mom moved in with my brother and his wife. She was supposed to look after their kids while they work. This didn't work out, and they are kicking her out, which is totally my mom's fault. I told her multiple times this would happen if she continued to act like she did. She was extremely mean to sister-in-law, tried to run their household, acted like the queen, refused to watch the kids full-time, which was their original agreement. She only watched them like half-day twice a week. And when she did, she neglected them, like not changing a poopy diaper for God knows how long because she was hoping sister-in-law would be back soon and do it, which resulted in baby getting a very nasty rash, etc. Now, she wants to move in with me. She's claiming she'd help with the kid. I have a 2-year-old. I told her, no, I saw what happened to my brother and sister-in-law. You caused major issues in their marriage and I will not risk it. After all, you always told us adult children should never live with their parents. Yes, we were both kicked out at 18 right after we finished school. She started crying and saying she doesn't have anywhere to go. She has until the end of the month to leave my brother's house. I told her neither did I when she kicked me out at 18 and I went to live on my friend's couch, but I worked and eventually rented a room. So I guess that's what she should do. That's what everyone else does. She asked me to at least pay her rent until she gets back on her feet. I said, no, you're a healthy working age person. You should not be freeloading. That's exactly what she told me when I was 18. We had a very big fight, but I refused to let her move in or give her money. I'm sure she should still have some from her inheritance, and I know for a fact my brother gave her money, so I didn't feel guilty at all. Now, multiple relatives are texting me, basically saying me and sister-in-law are horrible people. Mom's dead husband's son called to scold me, telling me my mom is my responsibility and not theirs, so I should do what's right. I do not feel guilty, but perhaps that's what makes me the a-hole, am I? I do feel bad about people claiming I'm a bad daughter, mainly because my mother was never a model mom herself. She never put her kids first and was generally disinterested in us unless she needed something. I mean, if she were nice, I'd be happy to have her near.
When a relative calls berating you for not housing your mother, your only response should be, I'm so glad you called and that you're so concerned. I'll let Mom know you've offered her lodging. Please reach out to her directly to make arrangements. Not the a-hole.
Yes, this. You are not the a-hole and neither are your brother or his wife.
Not the a-hole. Your mother should learn the consequences of her actions and of her lack of actions. You had to learn at 18. She finally has to learn. Ask the meddling relatives if they spoke to your mother on your behalf when she kicked you out at 18.
Also ask those relatives why they aren't taking her in. If they are so concerned, they can house her.
That's probably why they're getting shitty with OP, as they know that they'll have to deal with her now.
Not the a-hole. You have the benefit of knowing exactly how she will act. If you take her in, you'll probably suffer every single day until you kick her out. Depending on how much money your brother gave her and how much she got from the inheritance, I might consider kicking in a little extra just to completely wash my hands of the situation, but you're totally justified giving her nothing. And the fact that she's similarly pestering and guilting her husband's son does not make this your problem.
I don't know how much she got from her husband, but my brother gave her €800 every month for like 7 months or so. She could have saved up since she didn't have to pay for anything living with them. She also gets some money from the government for being a single adult household, but it's only a couple hundred a month as far as I know.
Not the a-hole. Your mom set the bar on your 18th birthday, and that is how she will be treated as well. Same rules apply.
Am I the a-hole for not making food for my dad's stepkids? I, 16 male, make my own lunch for school. I started making them when I was 11, and my mom was sick with cancer, and now I make all my lunches. My dad refuses to give me lunch money for school, said no way in hell to making them. Mom made his, and now he pays for lunch every day, and doesn't want to give me permission to eat outside school, which is an option with parents' consent, because he'd need to pay for that. So I make them. I work part-time, and so I started paying for the ingredients I use in my lunches. My dad got married 2-ish years ago. His wife has 3 kids who are 5, 7, and 8 now. For about a year, there's been this issue where my dad and his wife want me to make all 4 lunches. They said if I'm making my own, I should make my siblings, and I say siblings because they're not my siblings, lunches too, to save their mom time and to streamline everything. I was like, no. And my dad's wife was shocked. She called me out for making stuff only for myself. She said it's crazy that I would look at my siblings and not want to make a few things for them too. It escalated to where they said I shouldn't get to eat their dinners if I won't participate in taking care of the family. So I buy my own dinner stuff now and make my own. Now they're calling me out for doing that. They said I could make dinner for all 4 of us, and then we could eat dinner earlier, and my dad and his wife could do something else. My dad's wife didn't make lunches for her kids on several occasions to try and make me relent. Their teachers ended up feeding them and writing to her about it. She was super pissed and asked me if I was ashamed. I told her they're her kids and her problem, not mine. I also suggested she take it up with my dad if she's unhappy and wants help feeding her kids because it's not my job. She said if dad won't feed me, he won't feed her kids. I shrugged her off. Monday was a big day in all of this. I was home for hours alone and made a nice dinner. I was eating when my dad's wife came home with her kids, who were hungry, and she exploded on me and asked if I'd made the kids dinner. I said no. She demanded to make it up to them. I make them lunch for Tuesday, yesterday, and I said no. She called me a bunch of names and told me she fucking hates me because I'm supposed to be a decent kid, and yet I won't help feed her kids, and it's not how you treat family. I told her because it's not my job and we're not a family. I pointed out she married a guy who isn't a good dad to his own kid, and how her only interactions with said kid were attempting to dump responsibility onto him, me, so she really has no reason to think I owe her anything, which of course led her to calling me all kinds of things, including an ass. Am I the a-hole?
Not the a-hole. This whole family dynamic is toxic and you guys should be in therapy. And if your step-siblings' teachers have had to feed them multiple times, stepmom is probably going to get a call from CPS relatively soon.
Therapy won't fix anything because we're not a real family. My dad hasn't acted much like my family in years, and his wife has never acted like we're an actual family. She just expected it to be that way, and that I'd feel some kind of family connection to them from nowhere. It was always going to be impossible, and the fact she knew she was marrying a shitty dad is all I need to say. She would never be someone I would want or accept into my family.
You're a minor and he is required to feed, clothe, and house you. He is neglecting you and CPS should be notified.
Not the a-hole. Both your father and his wife are there abdicating their parental responsibilities. At a minimum, they have an obligation to feed, clothe, and shelter their children. I hope you can confide in someone about this situation and get support and help.
I talk to my friends about it and get support from them.
Not the a-hole. Document everything and tell her if she refuses to feed her kids again, you're calling CPS. OP, I think that you're the reason she married your dad. She was well aware your dad was nothing more than half your DNA. She saw you and how independent you are and said, oh boy, free babysitter, and he cooks too. I can dump my kids on him and finally have a life. But then, obviously, you refuse to play her game, and that pisses her off. I don't see that relationship lasting after she loses the kids, and the deadbeat she married refuses to help.
Yeah, I got that from her as well, but maybe she'll be glad if they can live as a child-free couple, because I find it really hard to believe she cares that much about her kids when she's willing to do all this and upset them more.
Not the a-hole. Why is she doubling down on withholding food from her 5-year-old and the others? That is abuse.
She way overestimated how I feel about them. I think she really did believe I see them, her and her kids as family. I don't. I don't hate her kids either, but I don't feel family obligations to them like she thinks.
Tell her that she should prioritize feeding her own children over hating her stepson, and if she doesn't feed them, you are calling the police.
Wow, I don't know how you can be so mature when surrounded by such immaturity. Good for you. And I'm sorry they're putting you through this. You shouldn't have to worry about where food is coming from, nor how other kids get fed.
What do you think of these stories? Leave a comment and subscribe to the channel to see more interesting videos.